watched Louie Theroux's Manosphere, and I have some things to say. Hi, how are you? Hope you're well. I'm Bubs, and today we're going to be talking about a documentary Louie Theroux did about the Manosphere. I know that there are some controversial opinions about this documentary. I think the biggest one is that Louie Theroux didn't push back enough. With all that said, I thought that it would be a fun little watch and also do a video on it and tell you my thoughts and feelings. See my eyes panning over? I took pretty extensive notes. So I will just be checking my notes and making sure I'm staying on track. I was quite excited for this because I've actually watched other Louie Theroux documentaries, all the way from the Christians who believe 9/11 happened to America due to our sin, all the way to Nazis who proclaim their racism with pride. I was pretty excited that Louie was going to be doing this because while I do think that this is a topic that needs to be challenged, I am an avid debate watcher. I love watching debates on YouTube, and every time we're on this subject, it always feels like it becomes a UFC match. Two sides yelling at each other. And while there have been controversial takes that Louie was too soft on the men that he was interviewing, even the women, I personally disagree because that's what Louie does. He comes in gently and he lets the other side say their piece while slowly expanding and challenging the beliefs of the people he is interviewing. And I kind of like that because I feel like then I get a clear picture of what these people believe and why they believe what they believe. I'm so excited because I knew that Louie would try and dive into the background on how these people became the way that they are. And I feel like that's never really talked about enough. We kind of just point the finger and yell asshole, which fair enough. But I was also excited to kind of gauge a bit of history on how these people decided to become so radical within their beliefs. That said, let's dive into Louie Theroux's The Manosphere. We start off with Harrison Sullivan. I've never heard or seen him. He says that he's organized 2 days to interview and follow Harrison, which I was originally disappointed by. I thought that he would definitely need more than 2 days. He did the Christians Who Hate American documentary. I believe he was with them for weeks. Surprisingly, we did learn a lot about Harrison within that time. I genuinely had no idea who Harrison was, but when the awkward meeting happened, I have to tell you, he looked like Andrew Tate's fetus to me. Like a Temu copy Andrew Tate, no doubt. I was like, oof, here we go. We're not even 2 minutes into Harrison's segment in this documentary, and right away he's introducing everyone within his household, and he goes, here's my dishwasher.
Dishwasher over here. My cleaner.
And then pans to one of his girlfriends, a girl he's doing content with. It was his girlfriend, but I believe that maybe they faked a relationship or faked extreme intimacy to help promote her social media. But I definitely thought we're really starting it out with a bang. But it was very interesting because then I thought, okay, he's definitely a rage baiter, because that is just what a rage baiter would say, especially when introducing somebody. To the background of Harrison, and he became famous on TikTok, and his TikTok, when announced, his TikTok was called HSTikkyTokky. And for a guy who spends his whole life trying to convince men how to be manly, that is the most fairy princess username I have ever fucking heard. HSTikkyTokky? TikkyTokky. No, Harrison explains that his life is teaching men how to not be little soy boys. And I don't know if Harrison knows this, and I don't even really know what soy boy means, but if he's insinuating hipsters who drink soy milk, he needs to be educated that soy milk has been out for years and oat milk is where it is now. So I guess it should be little oat boys. But then when you say little oat boys, you think of little pilgrim children. Harrison sees himself as like a modern savior who is here to kind of defeat the matrix.
I coach boys how to be fucking boys, how to make money, how to be outside the system, how to not have a boss telling you what to do.
And I have to be honest with you guys, I am so sick of the men a part of this corner of the internet using the term the matrix. They are really ruining one of the best franchises of all time, putting a damper on my fat material of Keanu Reeves and leather and doing gymnastics. Like, really, you're ruining it for me. True to his heritage, aka Andrew Tate, that Harrison makes his money off of OnlyFriends models.
Do you manage OnlyFriends girls?
I don't personally manage them, but I bought an agency that does. Do I?
Yep, so funny. He sits there and talks about how women need to take a traditional stance in life, but then piggybacks off of women who do SW. And it's honestly the most hypocritical thing I hear every single time. I mean, even if you are going to have those beliefs of a traditional lifestyle, wouldn't you stand on business, lead a traditional lifestyle, and not make most of your profit and earnings from women who do OnlyFriends? I mean, the hypocrisy is insane. Literally bought an agency that promotes OnlyFriends models, which I'm like, what? A whole agency? And that's where a lot of his profit comes from. For men who want to control women and put them down, he makes all of his living and his success off of the blood, sweat, and tears of women. And he is an Andrew Tate fetus who was a literal human trafficker, allegedly, and literally made all of his fortune from women. While Harrison promotes obscene behavior and profits off the very thing he hates, he does draw a line in the sand. Guess where the line in the sand is? The line in the sand is, yes, you guessed it, a gay son.
Same way if my son come out gay.
What, seriously? Being gay nowadays is considered quite normal.
Not my son.
Why?
Just not my son, innit?
He doesn't want a thought daughter either, but the worst thing that could ever happen to him is a gay son. And the ironic thing about this is all of this is happening while he is literally in the gym with half-naked men who are flexing their muscles and spreading their legs. Lexi Howard and the Euphoria play, it felt a lot like that. Kind of calling out the hypocrisy of it all, men hanging out with men and, you know, in checking themselves out in mirrors while talking about how they hate gay people. So then we go to the next morning, and after proclaiming how he would hate to have a thought daughter and a gay son, Harrison then starts to brag about how he has a video of a girl blowing him in the bathroom.
I was out getting content last night. Got a video of me getting sucked in the toilet of a club here if you want to see that, mate.
No, you did.
He was out streaming the night before. Funny how he has these high standards for his children, but he can't even abide by them himself. Have fun with that E. coli blow. You can tell that Louie was like really uncomfortable with this, and he did end up showing Louie the video. And I understand why Louie wanted to make sure that he was telling the truth, but still, it's just all very hypocritical and all very gross. It never strikes me as not weird that these men have these standards for women to be virgins and traditional and pure, and then they go out and expect women to give them blowies in the bathroom. It's just all very gross and weird to me. I like a random public rendezvous more than the next person. But the problem is that I'm not a hypocrite. I love sex. I think everyone should have sexual freedom when there's consent and they're both happy to do it themselves. But the disgusting part is that it's obviously that they're viewing these women as objects and oddities rather than human beings with needs and wants. And yeah, it's bizarre to me. A new person has entered the villa. This person is named Justin Waller. And yeah, so we're going to be moving on a little bit from Harrison and his shit-stained blowies and on to Justin Waller. Justin seems to have made his success in a similar way through teaching men how to be men and what it is to be successful. With you, all these guys talk about how they're successful and have all these successful companies and opportunities, but I never hear in detail how they've become successful businessmen. And I gotta be honest with you, I think most of their profit comes from convincing young men that they are successful and making money off of their backs instead of actually going out and having successful companies. I never ever get in detail how they have all this money and all this fortune. And for people who are online trying to teach men how to be successful and to be men, it never delves really deep into detail about how they built their business up brick by brick. Go to Justin's apartment, and I have to be honest with you, what is it about rich people and having the most bland apartments? I mean, his apartment was so boring. If I had money like this, I would have art, beautiful rugs, beautiful, just everything comfortable and cozy. And his apartment, I can hear the echo from here. I can hear the echo from a different country. It's insane how boring these apartments I keep seeing and these houses I keep seeing are. Not even a fluffy fucking blanket on the couch. Justin then tells Louie the biggest reason that he is hated is because he preaches one-sided monogamy and how he practices one-sided monogamy.
About my relationship.
Are you saying you're not in a monogamous relationship?
One-sided monogamy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the controversial opinion with me. I don't really care that you do one-sided monogamy. I think the reason people are hating on you is because is the one-sided monogamy consensual? Is it actually what your wife wants and she genuinely doesn't care about? Or are you hitting her with an ultimatum? And if she was to go out and want to have other partners and other sexual experiences, would you have a problem with that? And if you do, then why do you hold yourself to a different standard than your wife? I have a weird take that you guys are going to be like, what the fuck, Bubs? Okay. I don't understand how all these men say that they have all these different relationships and all these different affairs. I mean, there's only so much time in a day. I think I've had maybe 2-3 times with my partner, and I have to be honest with you guys, it was the most exhausting experience. Like, I passed out that night. And how they're doing this on a daily fucking basis. Don't you have shit to do? Aren't you a businessman? Aren't you busy? Couldn't imagine making it a daily occurrence. It's like actually like, I'm not even a businesswoman and I don't have time for that shit. Now we have another candidate in the villa. I never watch Myron, and I'm surprised Myron from Fresh and Fit is even on this because he is stupid. I never watched Myron, but I watched a 3-hour podcast of H3, and Ethan Klein had Myron, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I just remember Ethan Klein calling him Coconuts, his like partner in crime on the podcast. And I just could not believe that they were real human beings.
A Jewish guy, and you start saying 6 million died. What is that about? What do you mean by that?
Exactly 6 million?
Not a hair less.
What about 59999?
Myron Stein is here. Anybody need a loan, by the way? High interest rates, but I can hook y'all up.
No interest, man. You know what's the most awkward part of the show?
That's anti-Semitic too?
Yeah, what'd you say, Fred?
They literally, I remember witnessing in real time them claiming they believe the Holocaust was made up and over-dramatized. Okay, say that to the 6 or 7 million people who are like literally dead. Okay, I can't even spend time thinking about people who are that gullible and stupid to question that the Holocaust was even real. Your brain is spaghetti at that point to me. Anything you say or do, I'm not going to find any value in. I don't even find you interesting at this point because it is just so goddamn dumb. Louie is going into Myron's beliefs, and Myron believes women women were born with an advantage because they have tits and a vagina.
Born with your value, we must create our value.
How are we born with our value?
You literally have a vagina and titties. You are born with value.
Imagine bringing your daughter into this world and your husband looks at you and says, I'm so glad it's a woman. She's going to have it so easy in life because she's going to have tits and a vagina. Weird take, but okay. Believes in one-sided monogamy too. I feel like his is a more aggressive take than even Justin's was, because he was like, I expect her to be faithful. I expect her to pack my condoms. I expect her to cook dinner. I expect her to want me to go and fuck other people. It's, do you want a wife or do you want a mom? Like, even he was bragging about his wife, or his partner, not wife, partner, packing stuff for him and even packing his condoms to make sure that he's safe. And it's like, do you want a wife? Because this sounds like a mom. For someone who runs businesses and is telling people how to live their life and giving them advice on how to be a responsible, good man, you can't even pack your own fucking clothes. Who are you to talk about responsibility? So then we kind of steer the conversation a little bit, and Louie's asking Myron questions, and Myron brings up the fact that he wants to have not just multiple girlfriends, he wants to have multiple wives. Louie then asks Angie to come in to confirm this, and you can legit see the panic on Myron's face. It's like, he looks like a fish straight out of water. He was panicking. He was sweating. And Louie says, hey, like, how do you feel about the one-sided monogamy? And you can tell that she's not crazy about it, but she's like, I know that I'm the only real woman in his life. I know I'm the only one that he has a genuine relationship with. He's just sleeping with other women. And you can tell the tension is thick.
I don't want to mix things up between you, right? But
Yeah.
But we were talking about in the future that maybe there's a world where you would have more than one wife, right?
She understands that. She knows that could potentially come down in the future.
What do you say about that?
I don't know. I mean, he has said that in the past.
The tension is thick. You can tell that this woman thinks that her partner is just a playboy who can't control his little testosteronies, who can't control his little dingalingies, and just goes and sleeps with women. Does not really think that he's gonna have multiple wives, and honestly, I don't think he is either. I don't even think he wants that. I think he's trying to live up to this image so he can keep selling courses and keep getting clicks and keep rage baiting people. But when Angie is asked about the multiple wives situation, she makes it pretty clear that that's not really my shtick. Kind of see Myron kind of grab her a little bit and bring her over to him.
5 stars?
Yeah, 5 stars on Yelp. Yeah.
And kind of try and control and you can tell he was trying to send a message to her without having to say anything in front of the cameras of stop talking, agree with me, and shake your head yes. And that's what scares me more than anything, is the way that these men are able to kind of use their posture and their energy to kind of say, hey, shit's not going to go down well if you do not agree with what I say. The men in it are quite stiff. They're all quite, you can tell that they're not being fully themselves, fully transparent, because when the hypocrisy is called out, they immediately close ranks, right? They immediately don't want to talk to Louie. Instead of just having an open conversation of the hypocrisy of it all, they make Louie out to be an evil Jew. It's absolutely insane. So we're back to Justin and his boring ass apartment. Mind you, it's a different freaking apartment that looks exactly the same, but that is besides the point. Everyone has different tastes. Tells us his amazing tale on how men lead society, on how they build society.
Can you name anything that a woman has invented and built in our plain sight?
on how that everything we see in plain sight has been built by a man. Let's talk about what women have built. Lovelace was an English mathematician, and she was a writer. Her most famous work was on the analytical engine. More than a mathematician, Ada is seen as the first computer programmer. Margaret A. Wilcox was an American mechanical engineer. Secured the last 7 United States patents between 1890 and 1909. She's known for inventing one of the earliest car heating systems, which she patented in November 28th, 1993. Margaret Hamilton, born 1936, pioneering computer scientist who led the software engineering division at the MIT laboratory, developing onboard flight software for NASA's Apollo moon mission. Hedy Lamarr, the 1940s actress, co-invented frequency hopping, which helped lead to spread spectrum technology used in modern Wi-Fi and in Bluetooth. Mention life rafts, fire escapes, correction fluid, and the dishwasher were all created by women. DNA itself was discovered and first studied by a woman. And hey, Justin, not to mention yourself, were created by a woman. Back to Myron, and Louie attends one of Myron's toxic podcasts. Myron's talking about how all women are the same and they bring the same thing to the table, and that their expectations are way too high because men can just go out and find a hot 21-year-old to give them exactly what their wives at home won't give them.
Overinflate your own sense of self-worth. You guys think you're better than you really are. But the reality is all of you guys bring the same thing to the table virtually, because men don't ask for much. So if you don't want to go give it to him, he'll go find a 21-year-old that will.
Louie challenges this by saying that there is so much more to life and so much more to a healthy relationship than sex. You know, there's so much more to a deep, beautiful connection than just sexual gratification. Myron then replies that originally men only seeked women out for one thing. I hate to get cheesy, I really do, but this totally reminded me of that scene in Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix when Voldemort is like, you know, possessing Harry and all that, and Harry's like, I feel sorry for you because you'll never have friends and you'll never know love. And that is literally what I felt like I was witnessing in real time. Myron, aka Voldemort, who was sitting there saying that women hold no true value except what is between their legs, and Louie going like, that is just a ridiculous statement. And I do feel really sorry for Myron because he will never know true love if that is how he sees the people he is with. So sad, and unfortunately just really dampens the human experience. When I think of love, I think of my beautiful hubby, and while we do have a good sex life, and I do think it is important in a relationship to have a good sex life, my partner, I think of laughing and smiling. He is the most joyous and most caring person I know. When I think of him, I think of the smell of the rain, because when I smell the rain, everything seems calm and collected and together, and the world seems beautiful. And every time I think of my partner, I think of the smell of the rain. And I just cannot believe that this guy is so lonely and so misled that he thinks that relationships and life comes down to what is between your legs. That is just, it's so sad. It really is. And I feel so sad for all the boys who are following this life mentality. There is so much more to be had out of life and relationships and love, I promise you. We then go back to Harrison, and I am not kidding you when this is one of the most vile things that I've witnessed on the internet. Louie was hanging out with them while they were streaming, and just to stop and think for a moment, it really confuses me that these guys talk about how they have such successful careers and such good money, but yet they need to be streaming 12 hours a day. It's really bizarre to me. If you have companies and money in stock, why do you spend all of your time streaming? Shouldn't the money just be coming in from those avenues? I really do think that while they don't say it, most of their money is through content and rage bait. But with all that said, Louie had lost track of Harrison and went to go find Harrison and figured out through watching the stream, Harrison had convinced an older guy to come on a date. I'm only assuming that Harrison basically maybe sent photos of one of the women he was hanging out with. And look, I think the older man assumed that it was a woman he was meeting. When the older man arrived at the location, he tried to leave, realizing this was a setup. And when he tried to leave, Harrison's orbiters started assaulting him. It was a vile thing, and even though most of it was blurred, just listening to it and hearing it made me feel really sorry for this man.
Punches down on his head.
Harrison's orbiters, trying to backtrack, knowing that what they've done is just extremely illegal and now it is on the internet, tried to turn chat, I guess, get people to agree with what had been done by saying the older man was a PDF. But there was honestly no proof of this. And I think this older guy just saw a beautiful woman and wanted to come and meet her. There was no proof that this man had done really anything wrong. And this was a vile and disgusting thing to witness. And my jaw was literally on the floor. I kind of wish the old man had a walker with him, because if I was the old man and I had a walker with me, I would have literally beat the shit out of those little turds with my walker. He then tries to learn more about the childhoods of these, extremist men. And this is where I was sad. I was completely ready to figure out how they came to be the way that they are. Visit Justin's neighborhood and you can see that it looks like a pretty rough neighborhood. You figure out that Justin's mom was quite abusive. I believe that she was a drug addict, and I do believe that he suffered extreme abuse at the hands of his mother. His father seemed to be in and out of the picture also, which is deeply sad. You also figure out that Harrison's dad did not talk to him for 10 years and abandoned him and his mom when he was quite little. Figure out that Harrison's mom worked very, very hard to be able to put Harrison through a good private school. It's sad that Harrison's mom worked 2 jobs and worked so hard to give him a good education and a good life, and that good life has been used to minimize women. I need to believe that are all these ideologies that they believe in, do they come from a place of abandonment and insecurity? It leaves a big question. Are these men so misled due to not having fathers in their lives? I mean, none of these men seem to have good father figures. The repercussions of not being able to show good, healthy, true masculinity. And does that really make it okay? I don't think so. While I do feel sorry for them and I can sort of see how they ended up in life the way they are, does that really make it okay to spread such toxic propaganda? Does it make it okay to put women down and have misogynistic views? Not just with women, but with the LGBTQ community. Does not having your father in your life make it okay to be such a toxic and do such obscene, gross things online? I don't think so. I mean, half the world's father has left them. 3/4 of the people who are probably watching this, their dad probably said to them, hey, going to get milk and cigarettes, and never came back, including mine. The disappearance trick of the dad has been played on all of us, unfortunately. So it leaves room of, is that really an excuse to be the way that they are? He then introduces someone I did not expect. He then goes and introduces Sneako. Now, even though I know Sneako is very prominent and very famous on the internet and has grown a huge following, I actually don't know much about Sneako. I always thought Sneako was like Aiden Ross. He promoted gambling and conspiracy theories, but Aiden Ross alone doesn't really seem that nefarious of a character. I mean, I don't know. Am I wrong in that? I don't know enough about them. I'm not deep enough on the internet to have an opinion on Sneako. So I was pretty interested to see where this goes because, yeah, I thought Sneako was a conspiracy theorist and MAGA, but I never knew he was within the Manosphere. Then figure out that Sneako has been banned on pretty much all platforms, which I'm like, damn, he's an overachiever. That shit is hard to do. I got a bit of whiplash with Sneako, to be completely honest with you, because I never fully grasped what he believed. And my theories on him being a conspiracy theorist were pretty correct because I was getting like hella whiplash, right? Listen to this. Louie and Sneako are just getting coffee. And Sneako sees a magazine with a woman with one of her eyes covered up. And he went on a huge rant about how that's a satanic ritual.
See the one eye symbolism? This is satanic symbolism right here.
Do you think so?
Oh, it is. It's when you cover one eye. This is what the jaw looks like. The Antichrist is going to show up with one eye. So when you see celebrities...
Come on, stop it.
Look how many magazine covers have...
And that every woman in Hollywood does that. A lot of magazines only have one eye or one eye covered to sign the Satanists who are running the world in Hollywood. I got to be real with you guys. I was taken aback by that one. I had never heard that one. That's a new one. What I keep thinking was, imagine getting in a car crash and you lose your eye, and the next thing you know, Sneako is calling you the devil. What? Our time with Sneako was pretty short and sweet, and honestly, Sneako just seems like a rage baiter. I don't really know if he's within the Manosphere world and just more of MAGA and believing in aliens and the world is run by the Illuminati. I can't decide. How about you in the comments tell me about Sneako, because this documentary definitely didn't give me enough. We returned to Harrison and I was very refreshed and super surprised to figure out that his mom doesn't align with most of his values. Doesn't believe in racism, she's not okay with homophobia, and she's certainly not okay with sexism.
So of course there's things that I don't agree with, and he knows that.
She even challenged him by saying, society judges women for getting laid, but men don't. She'll never understand that. You can tell that she loves her son extremely, and she's going to stand by his side no matter what. Harrison tried to say that he wasn't homophobic because he had a gay mate.
He's not.
I have a gay mate.
But you said that if you had a son and he was gay, you'd disown him.
Which is the equivalent of saying the N-word, and then when you get called out on it, you say, it's okay because I have a black friend. Yeah, babe, it just doesn't work like that. Funniest and most relatable thing about this film, and I know that it actually became a meme because I saw it on TikTok quite a bit, is when Andrew Tate's sperm, Harrison, was mopping up spilt drink. The mom started yelling that he wasn't doing it properly and that he should just stop and go get a juice.
I don't want a juice bar.
No, you don't have to have a juice. They'll have shots.
Mummy, I don't want a juice bar. All right?
Don't embarrass me. All right? Don't be rude. That's not the way I've brought you up.
On for this, I do have to say the energy was very equivalent to me and my mother's energy. Me trying to do something, her saying, just stop. I can do it better than you. Go get a juice. Except my juice is Red Bull. Okay, guys, that's it. That's my recap of Louie Theroux's Manosphere. I'm grateful if you stuck around. Thank you for joining me and my little recap of what happened and my thoughts. And remember, women are awesome, gay people are awesome, and you are not defined by what is in your bank account and how muscly you are. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.